In the last 20 years, Chile has evolved to be undisputably the most modern country in Latin America. A country rich in resources, its GDP has had an annual growth rate of around 3.2% since 1981. In this growth, we have seen many developments in the country's infrastructure, such as the growth of an efficient metro system in the capital Santiago and public institutions like healthcare, education and entertainment. Chileans have a strong nationalistic pride and collective identity. At the same time, the economic boom that has taken place in Chile in the last 20 years has also resulted in an increase in the income gap in Chile. Recently, Chile came up second in the list of countries with the worst distribution of wealth. The richest 10% of the population currently controls 46% of the national income, while the poorest 10% have just a mere 1.4% of the share. As a group made up of 3 exchange students and 1 local student, we decided that the streets of Santiago was a good sample population for our research. For the exchange students, the 4 months that we have spent living here in Santiago and our interaction with the local population has led us to realise just how distinct the class divide in this society is. With this in mind, we set out to explore the effects of such a great socio-economic divide on the society. What are the reasons for such a divide and how entrenched is this problem?
The social economic divide.
Very huge and strong social division.
Y eso se ve en Santiago mismo. Si uno ve en Santiago cómo es físicamente Santiago, tiene sectores claramente identificables como comunas que tienen, se nota en distintos barrios enteros y comunas con distintas casas, con distintos bienes, con distinto acceso, con distintos trabajos, con ropa distinta, con colegios diferentes. Entonces, si uno mira otros sectores, ya aparte de Santiago Centro, otros barrios son, por lo tanto, distintos, tienen otros empleos o no tienen empleo también, tienen acceso a otro tipo de educación, por lo tanto, a otro tipo de cultura. Tradicionalmente, Chile y Latinoamérica ha estado, las sociedades latinoamericanas han tenido una gran diferencia de clases. Chile, especialmente después de la crisis de los 80, en que se desarrolló otro tipo de economía, porque antes era más segregada, era más aislada y era más estatal. Entonces cambió también la estratificación de clases en Chile.
O sea, la gente que trabajaba en el campo tenía poco acceso a la educación, después emigraron a las ciudades y vinieron a hacer trabajos de servicio como obreros, empleados de fábrica, como trabajar como nanas en las casas, haciendo aseo a la comida, y no les permitió seguir estudiando, sino que como que se mantuvieron en ese nivel.
Almost Catholic, we tend to have like a hierarchy, and it's like a pyramid. Like many people are on the base, and only a few on the top, and that tends to repeat itself in our society. A person, how they speak.
The other one is the way they dress. It's just very the appearance is just very different. But those little differences are where you can notice just at the first look.
Y eso se nota muchísimo aquí en Chile. Se nota, como digo, por el sitio donde viven, por el colegio al cual acuden, por la universidad, por los trabajos que tienen, por el barrio donde viven, por la ropa que usan, por el lenguaje que usan. Son mundos muy separados, muy distintos, muy clasistas.
Between the upper and the lower class, there are strong prejudice between them. The upper class think that the lower class is bad. They are all robbers, or they are not polite because of the poor education. In the other side, lower class think about the upper class like very extremely materialistic. So they're not talking the same language. And for upper class people, it's the same. They go to very rich school and they have only rich friends, and so they move always in the same world. When you try to get into someone else's world, it's kind of hard at the first time.
Most of the people that we interviewed agreed that the classist attitudes of individuals, social discrimination, and classist stereotypes only serve to widen the already existing class divide in the society. Furthermore, we also examined the institutional classism that exists in all sectors of the Chilean life, and the effects that this has on the society as a whole. The major consequence of such discrimination is the repression and disempowerment of the lower classes, and the self-perpetuating cycle of poverty that is therefore created.
Big differences between rich and poor because of the places they can live, the jobs they can get, the salary they can make, and all depends on where they study, like the chance they got for their education.
O sea, la segregación viene casi por la cuna.
The most obvious manifestation of this inequality can be seen in the education system. The privatisation of education has led to a massive increase in the number of private educational institutions. The difference in quality between public and private schools has furthered the social and economic gap in society. Furthermore, there is insufficient state participation and funding for education, which accounts for just 4% of Chile's GDP, compared to 7% in developed nations. Not only that, tuition fees are said to have increased from around 3 million pesos last year to 3.2 million pesos this year. For an average income earner who makes around 800,000 pesos a month, that would amount to 4 months of the family's income. Today, it is estimated that only 10% of Chilean students have access to schools that will provide them with real opportunities for their future. Students and teachers understand that strengthening public education will greatly contribute to building a fairer society and a better democracy. Having heard what some of the locals had to say about the education system in Chile and how it perpetuates the class divide, we took to the streets on the 16th of June, where 70,000 students marched along the Alameda to protest for fairer and better education. The demonstrators gathered at Plaza Italia and then marched west towards La Moneda and the Ministry of Education.
Básicamente hay educación segmentada por clases sociales. Tal como se divide la provisión de educación hoy en día, existen establecimientos particulares pagados, establecimientos particulares subvencionados y establecimientos municipales.
La división social son principalmente el acceso a la educación, el financiamiento y la poca democratización que existe hoy en día. Si vemos en el sistema que mide el acceso a la universidad, como es la PSU, se ve reflejado en que los colegios privados entran en un mayor porcentaje y los colegios, o sea, los liceos e institutos se ven perjudicados por la mala calidad que está.
Netamente es sencillo, ¿sí? A todos les conviene que los pobres no sigan estudiando, porque ¿a dónde van a haber obreros para que trabajen? ¿Cachai? Es algo neto. Si tú no naces en la clase alta, netamente al pobre siempre le va a costar más. Una, por plata, dos, porque su cultura, yo soy de la USACH. La USACH es una de las que menos recibe fondos. ¿Por qué? Porque hay grupos que tienen el poder y tienen el poder económico como para en el fondo apoyarla, pero no están ni ahí con apoyar una ideología que tenga que ver con la igualdad, con el generar igualdad y justicia social en el fondo.
Despite the structural forces that create and perpetuate the class divide, it seems as though the younger and more educated generation are trying hard to change their future through these protests. Whether or not they are effective remains to be seen, but it is obvious that the government will need to address this situation soon. President Piñera's approval rating recently fell to just 36%. Perhaps the pressure to perform might just lead to the first step in a much needed education reform in this country.
O sea, yo creo que la ayuda que puede haber para las personas que logren salir del sistema de la pobreza es que tiene que haber una familia que apoye, una familia que motive, que contenga y que le dé como una esperanza.
I think we should think more about the others. Like, if I do my best and if he does his best and she does her best, then as a group we all improve. But if I keep thinking only about myself and not the others, then we aren't going to change. But I think that with the new generations, I think that's going to change. I'm very positive about that. As Chileans, I think we have a very strong spirit, like a resilient spirit. We are accustomed to disaster. We persevere, and I think if we as a society we keep persevering, we are going to have a better country that it's looked upon.
We can't live in a status quo over next 300 years. I believe there are gonna be like maybe a breakthrough. I'm not talking maybe about a war. We don't need that. We just need to realize that we are all part of the same country. So we should have all maybe the same vision about the country. We have to define that vision. We have to define our own goal, not just looking in a very selfish way what our own interests is. Yeah.